This is the scale of modern elite sports. Millions tuning in, stadiums packed to capacity, all to witness the absolute pinnacle of physical exertion. The rewards for reaching that pinnacle are staggering. We are talking about billions of dollars in global sponsorships, broadcast rights, and athletes who achieve an immortalized legacy in the history books. To capture those rewards, competitors look for any possible edge. Through precise biohacking and advanced nutrition, hyper-engineered recovery routines, they push the human body right up against its absolute biological limits. But those limits are rigid. Eventually, physiology hits a wall. Yet the financial incentives to run faster and jump higher do not stop. That creates a vacuum. To fill that vacuum, a dark underworld exists. In clinical laboratories holding sterile, blue-capped vials, scientists work in secret to chemically engineer champions. To understand how winners are actually made, we have to look past the medals and examine the machinery operating in the shadows. Beneath the surface of these victories lies a network of chemical engineering and institutional corruption that has repeatedly decided the winners of sports history. The first level of this engineering happens at a microscopic scale, replacing the sweat of the training field with the quiet precision of the laboratory. This diagram shows erythropoietin, or EPO. It is a hormone injected directly into the bloodstream. Once it floods the system, it triggers a massive spike in red blood cell production, giving the athlete unnatural endurance. When standard drugs run the risk of failing a test, competitors rely on their own biology. They extract and store their blood in clinically labeled bags, then transfuse it back into their bodies right before a race to evade detection. This exact calculated science was the foundation of Lance Armstrong's dominant streak. He secured 7 consecutive Tour de France titles while presenting the image of an unstoppable hero, completely obscuring the illicit network he was running. That run ended when a massive investigation by the United States Anti-Doping Agency mapped out his entire biological supply chain. Once the evidence of his chemical evasion became public, authorities nullified his records and stripped him of his titles. Biological manipulation turns individual athletes from natural competitors into engineered machines. It renders the core concept of a fair human contest entirely obsolete. A single athlete with a rogue medical team is only the bottom rung of the ladder. To see the full scope of the problem, we have to look at sovereign nations. During the Cold War, East Germany operated a state-mandated initiative known as Plan 14.25. Their objective was to use athletic dominance as proof of national superiority. The government systematically, then secretly, fed performance-enhancing drugs to young athletes, many of whom had no idea what they were taking. The physical toll of this state-sponsored chemistry was obvious to anyone watching the track. State-sponsored programs did not disappear with the fall of the Berlin Wall. They are active, modern realities. Consider the systematic doping program executed by Russia during the Sochi Winter Olympics, right on their home soil. State intelligence agents treated the laboratory as an espionage target. They secretly swapped tainted urine samples for clean ones through rough-cut holes hidden in the facility's walls. The discovery of this massive operation led international authorities to formally ban Russia from participating in major global sporting competitions. State-orchestrated fraud transforms these games into covert geopolitical intelligence operations. The final level of corruption exists far above the track and the laboratory, inside the massive glass headquarters of global sports governance. If the individual athletes are compromised and the competing nations are orchestrating fraud, who is left to police the game? The reality is that the rot reaches the executive boardrooms of the organizations running the events, including the International Olympic Committee and FIFA. Through multi-million-dollar corporate scandals and bid-rigging operations, these officials have the authority to determine which nations get the lucrative rights to host tournaments. Hidden bribes passing through secret financial channels dictate global infrastructure decisions long before the first ticket is sold. This diagram illustrates the entire chain. The microscopic chemistry engineered by the athlete, the geopolitical maneuvering of the state, and the macroeconomics of the governing boards are all driven by the exact same pursuit of capital. Because of this top-down institutional rot, the integrity of the games is often compromised long before any athlete takes the field. When ultimate glory translates to multi-billion-dollar markets and significant institutional control, the human desire to win can easily turn into a systemic crime.